Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial I want to share with you guys how you can draft out this strapless bustier top you can see right here. So it's very simple, and if this is what you are interested in, please subscribe and let's get started. So the first thing you should do is to mark out the starting line, and from the starting line you're going to go ahead and mark the bust point, the under bust point, your waistline, and then the length of the top. So the length of my top here is 19 inches. So whatever length you want, you can place it right there, and then divide your shoulder into two. So my shoulder is 15, I divided into two and I have 7.5 inches plus half inch for sewing allowance. So connect that down to 1 inch, which is going to be serving as your shoulder slope, and then connect that shoulder slope into the shoulder line. So what you're going to do is to extend your tape down to 8 inches. So this 8 inches is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5, and that is going to be your chest line. So you connect the chest line into the shoulder slope. Now that we have finished marking out all these, so we're going to have to label all the lines so that you won't get yourself confused by the time you start taking all your measurements. And then from there you're going to have to input your neck measurements. So we are going to be making use of standard of 3 by 3 inches. That is for the front neckline. And once you are done with that, you're going to have to divide your bust circumference by 4 and then input that into the chest line. This is a guide for you to mark out your armhole. So in between the chest line and the armhole, divide whatever you have there by 2, input that, and then go in by half an inch to connect your armhole curve. Okay, so just as you can see me doing right now. Now that you are done with that, the next step we are going to be taking is to input all our body measurements. So divide all your body circumference by 4 and then input that. So we are going to have to do that for the bust points, do that for the under bust points, the waistline, and then connect down to the length of the top. So you're going to have to connect down to the length of the top, whatever you have on your waistline. Go ahead and input that on the length also. So from there, you're going to find your bust nipple to nipple measurement, your bust span measurement. So my bust span is 9 inches. Divide that by 2. I have 4.5 inches. So from the center front, that is the fold, the one facing you, you are going to input 4.5 inches and make that into a straight line. Now you are supposed to take out half an inch from the waistline, but because we have our length right there, so we are going to do that on the length. Okay, the length is not up to the hip, that's why I input that on that length line. Okay, and from the bust point, come down by 1 inch. That is where the front that always start from. So and connect your dart leg. So once you are done with that, replace your dart for the waist, and then the space between the under bust points will take care of the dart that you took out from that under bust point. Okay, and the next thing you are going to do is to find your bust radius. Okay, so measure the space between the bust point and the under bust point. For mine, I have 4 inches. Whatever you have, you're going to rotate it all around and then you mark it out. Now the next step is to measure your shoulder, because we have to connect this to form our shoulder dart. Okay, so divide it into 2 and connect that back into the bust point. Okay, now the next step we are going to take is to take out our bust tightening. Okay, and to do this, you have to measure what you have from the center front down to the side. Okay, and right there I have 10.25. All right, and my under bust circumference divided by 4 is 8.5. So you are going to go on and measure out 8.5 right from the center front, and then note the remaining. So right here the remaining is 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches, I'm going to go ahead and share it equally on both sides. That is the center front of the underbust and the side front. Okay, so I'm sharing it equally. You can go on as well, it depends on how busty you are. You can equally input half an inch right at the center front and then 1 inch at the side front. Okay, but here I shared it equally on both sides, so I used 3/4 of an inch, that is 0.75 on both sides. And then using your curved ruler, go ahead and connect that into the 1 inch that you came down from the bust point. Okay, so after you are done with that, what you're going to do is to take note of the that you removed at that under bust point. So what I have there is 2 inches. Okay, now we are going to have to tighten our chest line. Okay, so not to create any sort of gaping, you have to insert, and whatever you have right at the underbust point, go ahead and take it out also at that chest line. Okay, so just as you can see me doing like this, I share it equally on both sides again. So I inserted 1 inch on both sides and connected into the bust point. Okay, so the next step you are going to be taking is to determine where you want your neckline to fall. Okay, so that's why I ruled that line, that chest line up to the center front. So from that center front, I'm going to have to come up by 1 inch. That is how deep I want my neck to be. So, and then I connected that into the darts, and again going over to the side front, I connected the other one into the armhole. Okay, so what we are going to do next is to replace that darts. These darts are the chest line, that is the upper part. We are going to replace it on the chest line. Okay, so we have 2 inches. I'm going to replace these 2 inches and connect this to the length of my top. Okay, now any space that is left, you know, while connecting it, you're going to have space right at the under bust point. There is this space, so that space is going to take care of the that for the under bust point. That is the 2 inches that you removed for the under bust point. Okay, and right from there you're going to add up your stitching allowance. So here I'm making use of 1 inch, and once you're done with that, go ahead and connect this into a straight line. And guys, we are almost done with this tutorial, so you are going to rule out all those other lines. So the one you are interested in is the last line that you just created. So that is it for the front pattern. Okay, so we have successfully drafted out the front pattern. Now we are going to have to cut this out. So to cut out, you're going to have to start from the neckline, and from there you enter into the armhole. Okay, and then from the armhole you cut off every other thing. Now you saw that I labeled a yoke. That is if you want to use a yoke for this, but now we are making it a strapless, a tube top, so we don't need that yoke part. Okay, so I'm going to do away with that, but in case you want to attach a yoke, you make use of that. So this is the front pattern. We are going to go ahead and cut out the back. So for the back, you're going to bring in a pattern paper, another pattern paper, and then what you're going to do is to mark out a starting line, and from the center back you're going to come in by 2 inches, and that would be for your zipper allowance. But in case you don't want to attach a zip to this, in case you want a loop, you're not going to mark out the zipper allowance. So now everything I'm going to be drafting is going to be starting from this zipper line, okay, the vertical line that I made for this zipper. Okay, so and then go ahead from the shoulder to mark out your bust point again, the waistline and the length. The only difference between the front and back here is that there is no under bust. Okay, so divide your shoulder into two again, mark it out, go down by 1 inch, connect that into the shoulder line. So we are repeating almost everything we did for the front, apart from it doesn't have a bustier. Okay, so and then connect and divide your round bust measurement by 6 to mark out, plus 1.5 to mark out your chest line. Okay, and then we label all our lines, then connect your armhole. And the this time, this is the back armhole. You know, the one that we went in by 1/2 inch is the front armhole. Okay, now once you are done with that, you are going to have to divide all your body measurement by 4 again, and then mark it out. And right from the zipper line, you are going to have to mark out your nipple to nipple measurement again. Here I use 4.5 as well, and then take out 1/2 inch from your waistline, then connect the line into the length and right at the chest line, because our dart for the back always starts 1 inch below the chest line. You're going to come down by 1 inch from this chest line. Okay, and it also fell into the bust point, so you're going to go ahead and connect your dart leg to the bust point. Okay, just as you can see me doing right now. And after you are done with this, you're going to have to replace all your darts. Okay, and then plus your seam allowance. So the next step I'm going to take is to determine where I want my neckline to fall into. So my neckline, I want it to go below the front neckline. Okay, but the side is going to fall on the chest line also. That is, you're going to connect it to the armhole. So make sure that the side of the back is the same, is equally the same with the front. I don't know if you get me, but then the back I lowered it because I want it to be lower. But if you want it to fall on that chest line, leave it that way. That means it's going to be straight. Or you can see that I slightly connected my own. Okay, and once you're done with that, we are done, and you're going to have to cut this out. So right now we are cutting out, and as well you are going to have to modify the zipper allowance because we don't want any sort of bulge, okay, at the back of our dress, at the back of our top. So that's why we have to go in by 1 inch and then shape out our zip. So and from there you cut out your darts, and this is it for the front pattern. So you label that CB and SB, and for the front also label that CF and SF. Okay, so this is it for the cutting of this tube top or a strapless top. So if you find this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so. I will see you in my next one. Bye.